Hello everybody and welcome back to Redstone for Beginners. Now this is going to be the last episode in the series, and this episode is going to focus on Redstone DIY, or in other words, how to do it yourself. Now what I mean by DIY is very simple. Firstly, there are a lot of really helpful Redstone tutorials about on YouTube, as well as just my own, of course. That will tell you how to build your own, for example, melon and pumpkin farm, or it might be a passive mob farm, or it might be a massive smelter, or it might be a system to move rail carts with. There's all sorts of builds and all sorts of fantastic tutorials that will tell you how to build them, block by block. And there's nothing wrong with these. These are fantastic. They're very useful. By all means, do use them. But what's also really good about Redstone is that there's lots of different ways to do the same thing. So I would encourage everyone to have a go at doing it yourself. And this video is going to help you to do that. So as a general guide for building your own Redstone contraptions without necessarily using a tutorial to follow block for block, I'm going to break it down into 3 main steps. The first one is use creative mode. Now, creative mode is very useful in Minecraft for a few reasons. First of all, you have access to all of the blocks, an infinite number of them, and you can easily access whatever you happen to need. You could also place them and break them instantly. You can fly. It's generally a much easier way to build redstone contraptions. And then when you are finished and you are happy with them, you've tested them, etc., then you can recreate it in your survival world. So the next step to building your own redstone contraptions is trial and error. In other words, you're going to have to test a lot of things out, you're going to have to redo a lot of things, and there's generally a lot of figuring out in the whole process for building your own things. But that's also why it's so satisfying to finally get something that works, that is your creation, and you didn't have to use anyone else's design. So let's say I want to build a sugarcane farm, for example. Well, I've got my sand blocks here, and I know that sugarcane needs water to grow, so I've got some water source blocks behind them. Let me plant my sugarcane like that. Now, how am I going to break the sugarcane when they grow? Because I know sugarcane grows upwards like that, and if you break off the top block, then you can harvest the sugarcane. It didn't there because I was in creative mode. So, I can break those off using pistons. So, if I place some blocks along here, like that, I should be able to place pistons along the top like that. Now, how am I going to power those pistons? Well, I know from episode 2 of my series that any powered block that's next to these pistons should activate them. So if I run smooth stone blocks along the side of them like that, place redstone along the top of them, then that should power all of these pistons at the same time. But how do I know for certain? Well, I can double check it. If I place a piston here, turn it on, there go all of those pistons, like that. Notice, each time I add something new, I'm testing it, I'm investigating it to see if it works. Now then, I know that my sugarcane is going to be broken off at the top, but at the moment the sugarcane is just going to fall on top of these blocks like that. Now I want a way of collecting them automatically if I can, and generally there's 2 ways to do that. I can either use hoppers or hoppers with minecarts, or I could use water because items in flowing water will travel down the water until they're collected up. So I'm going to use glass and make these little channels across the side. And the good thing is, this is my own design, so I could use whatever blocks I want so long as it works. So I'm going to build the glass down like that, and if I place some water in these 2 blocks here, 2 water sources, you can see the water is flowing out like that over the top of my chest here. So I ideally don't want that, so I'm going to place a block on top of the chest like that. Now this way, when the sugarcane falls into the water, it should flow into this hopper that I've placed down here, which is connected to this chest. And I can confirm that by throwing in some sugarcane like this. But if you notice, I can't open the chest. Now this is because I've got a full block on top of it here. Now remember, when I started this episode, there's going to be a lot of problem solving and figuring stuff out. So how can I solve this? Well, there's a few ways I can solve this, but I'm going to use a stair block for this one, because a stair block above a chest will not interfere with the opening and closing of the chest. So let's see if I just replace that quickly. There we go. I can still open my chest, and there I've confirmed that the sugarcane does indeed go into the chest like that. Okay, so now I have a system for collecting up the sugarcane when it's been broken off by the pistons. Now I have to think about input. So remember, I placed redstone on top of these blocks here, which will power all these pistons, and we confirmed that that worked. I've made another change. I've wired the redstone down to the bottom here, so I can very easily turn this off and on. But let's say I want to make this automatic. I don't want to have to keep on going over to my sugarcane and breaking the blocks like this. Is there a way of doing it? And the answer to that is yes, yes indeed. If you have seen my episode on Redstone Clock, you may remember seeing circuits like this. Now this is an etho hopper clock, and this will create a pulse every time that redstone block switches positions. And I've wired that up using the new target block actually to power the pistons. And I've got my inputs here, so right now it is off, those pistons will not fire, but if I switch it on, then every time those items pass from one hopper to the other, I get a small redstone pulse and the pistons fire, just like that. So this is just one example of how you can use your own knowledge with how redstone works to make your own redstone contraptions. Very, very simple. And last but not least, the last step that you need to build your own redstone contraptions is what I'm going to refer to as tinkering. And all this means is that you will learn lots of different circuits and contraptions or ways to build things from my videos, from other tutorials that you might find. But you do not have to stick to the original. You can use bits of your own redstone, you can change things, you can leave stuff out, you can add stuff in, you can alter it in whichever way you want. So long as it still works for what you need, that's absolutely fine. So this is a circuit here, which is basically a minecart with chest loader. And the way it works is if I place a minecart chest down like this, as soon as it gets filled up with items, you see it's being filled with leave blocks, that powered rail is going to be powered and it's going to leave just like that. Now there's a few things I can do with this circuit. First of all, I want to understand how this circuit works. So in order to do that, let's have a think. So I've got a hopper that's feeding into this hopper minecart, but I've got a comparator output from it. So when there's items still in the hopper, that is going to power this block that I'm standing on from the looks of things. Now, we know from how redstone works that that will turn this torch off, which means this block right here will not be powered, and this powered rail will not be powered. So that's why the minecart with the chest stays put. But when all the items have gone through, that hopper is going to be empty, of course, which means this block isn't powered, which means the torch turns on and the powered rail is powered, so the minecart with chest can set off like that. But there's changes that I can make. So for example, maybe I want a redstone lamp. If I place a redstone lamp here, then it will light up as soon as the minecart with rail departs. So let's try that again. Filled up with items, the redstone lamp is off. It's filling up as soon as it's ready to go. The redstone lamp should turn on like that. So that's just one example of the changes you can make to a redstone contraptions. Please do not be afraid to do this with any tutorial that you find, including mine. Okay then guys, so that brings us to the end of this video, but also this video series. Thank you so much for watching guys. If you didn't know, this is a whole series of redstone tutorials targeted at beginners, as in people that don't really do redstone at all. So it's designed to be super simple, and I hope it helped you guys out understand redstone, especially the fundamentals of redstone. So again, I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed or if you found any of these videos useful, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye guys.